Hello YouTube, Proxy here with another Ashes of Creation news update. The last week or so has been quite intense with all the PAX reveals. So here I am to compress some of the more interesting information over the past week or so into one video. Here is a quick generic disclaimer informing you that the game is in pre-alpha, everything is subject to change, and the most important things in the video have been bacon confirmed, but not confirmed by Intrepid Studios. Any opinions or viewpoints stated are of my own and do not represent Intrepid's. So let's first talk about the current release schedule for Ashes of Creation. First, the Friends and Family Technical Pre-Alpha will be this year, followed by an Alpha 0 which is on December the 15th, 2017, which is under NDA. Alpha Phase 1 will take place in 2018 and Alpha 2 will be available on 2018 as well. Beta Phase 1 and 2 will take place in 2019 and the live launch will be between 2019 and 2020. Now let's do a recap of the PAX panel, which I'll provide a summarised version of what was said. If you want the full details, you'll just have to watch the entire thing. Now pretty much the first 20 minutes or so basically details each of the panel's members' experience of coming on board with Intrepid, which consisted of, from right to left, Jeffrey Bard, Stephen Sharif, Kevin Kovacs, Michael Bacon and Matt Broom. And this leads to the big announcement of PAX, which was the hiring of musical composer by the name of McCreary. Now McCreary is quite well known within the industry and composed original soundtracks for God of War, The Walking Dead, Black Sails, Outlander. Actually the list is pretty extensive, so instead of listing everything here, I'll drop a link to his IMDb profile. And this was a pretty exciting announcement and clearly a big deal for Ashes of Creation. And this announcement pretty much led on to the Q&A section, to which the first question was, to what degree will soulbound equipment be featured in Ashes? To which the summarised answer was very limited, which is due to the fact they want to keep the majority of items and gear within the economy. The second question, when condensed, asked about the content for casual players, time-limited players or anti-social solo players. And the answer to this one was extremely detailed, explaining a lot of content could be joined in from sieges, housing and dungeons, arenas and caravans, which the simple answer was yes, there's going to be a lot of content aimed towards those kinds of players. The next was a question that's been talked about a lot before in regards to fixed classes. And the simplified answer they gave to this was that currently they want to have a fixed primary class and the option to change the secondary, though this could be subject to change. The next question basically asked if they can keep working at the current pace they have been, which the compressed answer is, game design is an iterative process, but there is a general fixed structure of design in place that most likely won't change, but some things will depending on the feedback through testing, and they are confident they can keep working at the current pace they are. The next query was about raid content, to which Intrepid stated that the initial raid content will be a 40-man, and other content for raids such as world bosses and events. So there's going to be a lot of content for raids. And there was a follow-up question about smaller content, and yes, there's going to be smaller content too, even in castle sieges. The next question asked for an overview of the game, but if you watch my content you should already know what Ashes of Creation is. However, a second question was posed if they have any mathematicians, which the short answer is not specifically as a job role, but they have people extremely capable at math. For example, Kevin McPherson, who's part of Intrepid's team, is most likely very able at math. The next question was about the Quick Time Event Bar, a hot topic as of late, asking if there would be any significant changes, which the summarised version is, the reason they added the QuickTime event was because they didn't want to have an auto-attack feature. The QuickTime event doesn't apply to all skills, as a matter of fact it only applies to one skill and it generates what they call focus, and focus is an alternative energy source that can fuel certain types of skills. And that there will be a weapon skill tree which provides further customization of it, with a possible UI change as well. Currently it seems it's going to be in the early alpha tests, as they deem feedback without having hands-on feedback irrelevant. A World of Warcraft player asked if the game will be alt friendly, and the short answer is yes, alts will be a thing. Another guy asked about UI, Stephen said it will be extremely customizable. He followed up with a skill gap question, which the answer was to allow players to customize their experience, which provides easier tab target routes or more complex action orientated routes via the skill trees. The same guy followed up again, totally hogging the mic, asking if players can do side quests that will have an impact on things, which the simple answer is yes, in the form of tasks, overarching narrative and events. Another guy asked if there will be a necromancer, and the simple answer is yes, there's a necromancer within the class name list. And he followed up with if there's any danger in the darkness if you delve too deep, and the answer is once again yes. The next question is one that I myself have asked a million times but never got an answer. But the name of the world is in fact Vera in the world's common tongue, and it will have other names for other tongues apparently. And the final question for the panel was, will there be any alchemy? And the answer is yes, and there will also be items that can give you boosts as well, such as the tattoo system. So what else happened at PAX? Well, a lot of people tested the game, both PvE and PvP, and opinions were fairly mixed. In general, it seems people were quite happy with how far the game has developed in such a short time, but there's a lot of criticism to be had on various parts, but feedback is always good. I'm still working on my breakdown of the combat system for both PvP and PvE, but I thought I'd switch to doing this news update. And in other PAX news, there seemed to be an issue that arose between Steven and some people trash talking at the Trion booth.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Are you feeling like a superstar yet?
What's this?
Are you feeling like a superstar yet? Have we reached superstar status yet?
I'm signing a lot of autographs. So I think
that is pretty good.
But yeah, everybody seems to be pretty cool.
Dude,
98%.
the Arcade team at Trion is talking some mad shit about me.
Really?
Yes.
What?
They're just random people.
What?
The Arcade team over at Trion
really
is talking some mad shit about me.
Really? Like what?
About like me playing arcade.
Holy shit.
Okay, you're playing arcade.
Those motherfuckers. No, they're talking about how I bought gold.
How you did what?
Bought gold.
Bought gold?
This fucking
mic is off, right?
Oh shit, that's right. It's a hot mic.
Oh my.
Was it hot mic?
It's off.
Oh shit.
I cannot believe these fucking people. Oh my god.
Dude, I lit it up last night, so I don't feel so bad.
Fucking.
We had a few trolls out here, and I was just like, I just let somebody have it.
Clips, dude.
Oh, that is totally gonna be clipped.
Totally hot mic.
Bacon, you. Oh my god. Look at what happens. AA is jelly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
However, details on who actually said what is sketchy at best, and I'm not even sure if it's Trion employees or just random people. Still, Steven's reaction is priceless. On the livestream, some information was dropped. Vek are based on the Mayan culture and the Renkai are based on Japanese Eastern culture. And well, I might as well say this, it was under NDA, but I think there's been enough leaked, so basically all the initial 8 races are based somewhat on real culture. In fact, you can pretty much work out which ones are which, via all the current information released. But it's not my place to say which is which though. And that's pretty much it for most of the main news. There are some other tidbits here and there, but there's nothing exceptionally worth talking about. So let's move on to the community news section. Fever made a video recently for Ashes of Creation and he got the chance to play it for himself, and quite honestly, I liked this video. For one, it resonates with a lot of my concerns about the game. And some people who saw my concerns were like, but Pucky, you haven't played it. Well, Fever has played it, and he has similar concerns. And that's the second thing I liked about Fever's video, that it was from the perspective of someone who is outside of the community in a sense. And he generally looks at it from a different angle, from a very neutral standpoint, and it really gives some honest feedback. I'm not quite sure about comparing the Ashes of Creation community to a cult is quite the way to go. I think his point about the project being more about hope than hype is pretty spot on, as most of us are here not just to hype the game, it's more about wanting to see the MMORPG genre brought back to life, and some of us are putting our hopes into Ashes of Creation to do, well, just that. Well, in other community news, we recently held the Ashes Got Talent, and I thought when going into it, it was going to be a cringe fest, but people with talent actually showed up. I'm not going to say the experience was cringe-free, but I think it took guts for everyone involved to step up and give it a go. Gideon came in first place winning a sweater and a t-shirt, Pup Games came in second place winning a shirt, and Canny won a hat in third place. Cadus decided as a bonus that he'd throw in a sandal as well for each winner, so congratulations guys. As a follow-up to this, we hosted our first modcast as well and got some interviews in with Goat, Tell Something, and Tail Teller. It went okay for our first podcast, and there will be plenty more to come, and you can watch them via our community Twitch, or catch the recorded version on the community YouTube. And finally, a shout out goes to Atropos, who runs and manages the Ashen Foundry, which is a website in dedication to discussions, guides and further tools within the near future. He has recently posted a well-constructed opinion piece detailing his experience of AoC at PAX, as well as his thoughts regarding the demos. It's definitely worth a read, and it's also worth you taking your time to create an account here, as it will be most certainly a useful site for Ashes in the future. Well, that pretty much wraps up this news update. This is going to be a little bit longer than my usual news updates, but hopefully this information is useful to you guys. Remember, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. And as always guys, thanks for watching.